Function, domain, word problems. Okay, Aiden is a spice trader. He sells any amount of cumin seeds for 1 kilogram to 1,000 kilograms. He charges $5 for 1 kilogram and 2,000 for 1,000 kilograms. So we're going to use PW. And the W is the weight in kilograms. And the kilograms weight is listed here. So it's going to go from 1 to 1,000. The letter we're going to use in the middle is W. And we're going to say that at the most it can be as 1,000. You can't do better than 1,000. So it can be exactly 1,000. And the lowest it can be is 1. So we're going to look for an inequality that looks like that. First off, let's talk about the weight. So these numbers here, they can also be decimals. So if you have no decimals there, that's going to be integers. But if you have decimals or possible fractions, then they're going to be considered real numbers. So our domain can contain real numbers because of the fraction and decimals. Now we look at the choices here, and again we want to go from 1 to 1,000, and that would be letter D. So letter D would match up what I put there. So let's check the answer. Okay, let's go to the next question. The house number on a certain street goes from 1 to 88. And then they give you the following function. And it says B of n, and n would be the building numbers. So those are the building numbers there. So the building numbers, it says right there, the house numbers go from 1 to 88. So the letter inside the parentheses is n. You can't do better than 88. That's the best. And then we just go ahead and use the same sign again. So basically we're going is from 1 to 88. Now with street addresses, there is no fractions or decimals. So these are integers. Because again, these are street addresses. And our domain should go from 1 to 88, which would be D. Okay, the altitude at which a boiled egg affects how long it takes for the egg to achieve perfect hardness. It takes 198 seconds to boil a perfect egg at the lowest possible at the lowest place possible, the edge of the Dead Sea, which has an altitude of a negative 418 meters. The highest place possible is the summit of Mount Everest, which has an altitude of 8,848 meters, and it takes 209 seconds to boil the perfect egg. So we're going to use T of A, and the letter A is the altitude. So if you look here, that's what it says. The A is the altitude. So the altitude that we're working with is a negative 418 and a positive 8,848. So we have a negative 418 to 8,848, and A is my middle. So I can't do better than 8,848, and again I just use that sign again. Now since this is measurements, you can actually have fractions and you can actually have decimals. So this would be real numbers. So the domain would be considered real numbers there. And again, we're going to go from negative 418 up to 8,848. So that would be A. And if you look at the other choices, there's nothing like that. So A would be my best choice for this problem here. Because again, we're only looking at the altitude. Okay, Mia is rolling a pair of 6-sided dice. Now, pair, that means there's 2 of them. So there's 2 6-sided dice here. So we have the probability of n, and let's say the event of the sum of the n, the dice is n. So we want to add up what we got on the dice. So if you roll the dice there, you're talking about numbers that should be 1 to 12, or not 1 to 12. You can't roll a 1 on two pair of dice. It's going to be 2, because remember, each dice is going to contain 1 through 6, and the other one's going to contain 1 through 6. So if we add it up, 1 plus 1 is 2. That's my smallest. 6 plus 6 is 12. Now, with rolling of the dice, there's no such thing as a decimal or fraction with that because they're six-sided. So this would definitely be integers. Now, as for our domain, the description of domain, we're going to have the letter N. You can't do better than 12. Now, you can roll a 12, but you can't do better than 12. And the lowest you can go is a 2. So it's going to range from a 2 to a 12. So 2 to 12, and that would be C, because you want to recognize what the appropriate domain is.